D's for danger. Hey guys, KoD here, back on the scene. We're glad to be here, ready to represent. I'm Drew Danger. You know who I am. We got Rican Ranger. We got Lady Laura here. Everybody ready? Everybody excited? Let's do it. We got a lot of topics today, a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to get into, a lot of ideas, a lot of maybe, should have had, this, that. We're going to get into all that, guys. So, Rican, start us out. I know we got something on that you're excited about. Power Ranger news, everybody, right? Okay.
Yeah. Let's get it cracking with Power Rangers. We're gonna cover some stuff, man. I want to talk about some DC moves, some Marvel moves, overall nerd culture, what's going on. Apparently, Boom Studios has thrown Rocky and Adam on the Rainbow Train, so that is new news with Power Ranger fans. We love to know how you guys feel about that situation. I'd love to know how Rocky and Adam feel, JYB, Steve Cardenas, it seems like the fandom split, it feels forced like we talked about on other shows. I feel like it's more agenda than representation. I mean, we had all that going on with Cosmic Fury. We got the couple situation with what's the Green Ranger's name, Drew, in Cosmic Fury? I forget her name.
Keep going. I'll come up with it.
But yeah, we had that situation, with the Rad Bug too as well when that was going on. So it's not like, it's not there. Billy always, I feel like, was a representation of that community as well from day one. So I'm not a fan of this move. I get it. I understand it. It feels like a money grab to me. But as a Power Ranger fan, it's just typical of the times we're in. What they've been doing with the shows, what Disney's been doing with Star Wars. We talk about this stuff all the time, Drew. Like, just some of this forced fed nonsense to me, just ruining brands, ruining franchises. So, yeah, that's how I feel about the Power Ranger news. How you guys feel about that change? How do you think JYB feels? Steve Cardenas or diehards like us?
Go ahead, Lady Laura.
Um, so I'm not a fan of change, especially when it's been on as long as it has been. It's been 30 years, and I'm of the opinion if it ain't broken, don't fix it. You
Yeah.
know, so I just think that some things should be sacred, and Power Rangers is one of them. And I think that it should just be left the way it was written in the 90s. I don't think there was anything wrong with it. I think that the show and all the characters are just sacred, and that an entire generation was brought up on this Power Rangers, and all of a sudden they want to change it, and it's like it wasn't broken, so don't fix it. So that's my opinion. Just
Well,
leave well enough alone, and leave what is sacred alone. That's
well,
my.
would you have been mad if Billy came out? I mean, obviously, if they made Billy come out in the comic books and in the universe itself, it would have made more sense because David Yost was gay in real life, so it just would have
Yeah.
made more sense that would have been the move to me, to just go with the flow and blend it. You know what I mean? I don't know why they had to do such a outstretched move and make two characters out of nowhere just completely 180 like that.
Well,
That's my
there's no
main.
evidence for what they're claiming. There's no evidence to,
Yeah,
what
like they were
there's.
crushing the whole time. Like,
And
I don't like
so
it.
I just feel like, again, leave Power Rangers the way it is. Especially Mighty Morphin. That is so
Yeah.
Mighty Morphin and Zeo, and that's 30 years ago, and you're messing with history now.
Mhm.
And so I think it's more about leaving it, you're trying to change history. So just leave it alone. Don't ruin it. Don't um don't fix what's not broken.
Mhm.
So that's my 2 cents on it.
What do you think, Joe?
All right, Rican. First, I wanted to say the character's name is Izzy Garcia.
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
Green
She had
Ranger
a
that
whole
they
girlfriend
did
on the
that too.
show.
Yeah, with the Orange Ranger, the first Orange Ranger or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Green Cosmic Fury. Yeah.
So sorry guys, I did not watch Cosmic Fury. I
Yeah.
apologize, did not see it. So I had to look that up really quick. But to give my thoughts about Rocky and Adam, you know, and Johnny and Steve and all that, that has no place because the characters were originally established a certain way. We built all this lore, X amount of years, understanding the characters, knowing their ins and outs, pretty much being the characters that we know. To change it is not just a change. There is an agenda being played here. There's been an agenda being played. This isn't about representation. It's about agendas and butts in the seats for stuff like that. That's what this is about. And they keep pushing it because Power Rangers, we all know, is not the only thing affected. Star Wars got affected.
Yeah.
Marvel, DC got affected.
Mm-hmm.
Every avenue, outlet, source, thing, computer, whatever, has all been affected by this. Schools, whatever. Okay. I'm a parent, so I know. I had to deal with some things. This is something that they have put out there and they're pushing too hard. Even Elon Musk spoke out on things that he didn't like because he had a situation with his son that had happened that was not good. So we can't go out here and push people in that. It has to come naturally with whatever you do. And there has to be no agenda behind it besides it's in the story and it's a good move. See, what does it have to do with the story? See, that's what I get down to because people are going to be like, oh, Drew sounds mad or Drew sounds. No, what does it have to do with the story? Okay. Does it make him a better hero?
Yeah. Is there a reason for it?
Right. Yeah. Does it make them stronger? Does it give them jumping abilities? Like, what does it do? Does it
No,
make
it's hi, we're gay now. That's it.
Yeah. It's like, see, it doesn't make things better. It does not make a better story. You just put your agenda in it and it does not improve the story. The book, it's sinking. Actually, it's sinking. Star Wars has been sinking. Marvel's been sinking when they came up with all these different agendas. You know, it has not been working. So people are now, I mean, it's been a while. They should have gotten the hint. Now people are getting the hint. Maybe we shouldn't put agendas and force and push certain things in there. You know, let it come naturally. Let the writers write. Like it's to the point where, Rican, you write. If you wrote a story and you said, you know, I'm going to go in with my script and I'm going to cast people that I really think have it for the parts of my characters, right? And you pick who you want. And the studio goes, hey, granted, do that. You're like, all right, great. But imagine this, because this is what's going on. People are putting together movie scripts and the studio comes and says, wait. Before we do anything, we need one of this, one of that, one of this, and we need you to, in your script to have this. Then we can greenlight it. What? I want the best people. Like if that person represents that, but they're not good and they're not who I want that could really deliver the role, I don't want them. You know, it's like that they're a terrible actor.
It's not organic, you know.
That's a good way of putting it, Laura.
Fed. It's just force-fed agenda. That's all.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's nothing against the Rainbow Mafia, but they're quick to cancel people.
Yes,
now, what ASJ did while we're on the topic, I mean, it's kind of karma that he made fun of their community and then he got caught up in that whole gay porn escapade that Henry just finished covering. So it's like, you know, he got that karma in that shape, you know, in that shape or form. So it's like the thing with ASJ, it served itself. So it's like when you come at them like that and they go and cancel you, it's like they know your intention, you know. So you got to be careful what you say. You can have where you stand on it, but I don't think representation is the issue here. It's more agenda for me, I think. And it's like, just why? You know, why? It was fine the way it is. Billy claiming that flag. Billy was waving that flag high. I'm just confused. That's all. I'm just confused. So, what else we got, Drew? I mean, we're moving from Power Rangers. You want to go to DC?
Yes. We can get to DC. So we've got the Batfleck animated, possibly talking about. Also, we want to talk about the Batfleck movie, Superman, the new movie coming out, Green Lantern, projects for that, HBO Max in general. That's what I got for DC,
Well,
and then of course Ghost Rider for Marvel later.
yeah,
After we get through with
yeah.
DC.
I mean, we've been covering the Ghost Rider. We've been covering Marvel. We saw Deadpool and Wolverine review. We reviewed that together. We've been kind of working hard on the Marvel stuff, so I wanted to cook this episode on DC because James Gunn is a Marvel guy. You know, he did the Guardians of the Galaxy saga. Say what you will about the Suicide Squad stuff. Where do you see the battle going? You know what I mean? Because we're knee deep in where Marvel's heading. I feel like they fired the flares in the sky, you know, to at least get fans' attention. So DC is gonna let Superman fly again, and we're gonna have the Man of Steel haters, the Henry Cavill haters, which Cavill's getting some money because I don't know if it was a fan thing, but I saw a Henry Cavill Highlander poster. I think that's a good idea.
Yes. Yeah,
I don't
they're
know if
doing
that's
that.
coming. It was Russell Crowe and Henry Cavill and Highlander. I mean, these are the type of series that and things that need to happen. I mean, do you really think there's superhero fatigue? Let's kind of segue into, you know, the DC, and we covered Rangers. Like, is there superhero fatigue? Like, if Superman flops, what else does DC need to go with it? I mean, obviously Green Lantern Corps type of show, you know.
I got it.
Where do we need to go with DC, bro?
I got it, man. Okay, number one, you can always do a Green Arrow movie if they wanted to. They could make it really good. Have Arsenal in it. I would love to see that. They could go Nightwing. They could go Green Lantern.
Would you put the CW guy show in it? The guy from the CW Green Arrow series?
I could see him playing the part. I could see him playing the part. The CW side would have to go away from him.
Right.
And then they would just have to give it really rough-edged Green Arrow comic book kind of deal with it. So it'd be comic book, put him in a certain light that really shows the good qualities of Oliver Queen from the comic book.
Yeah.
And put it out there. I think that would be the best way to do it because, you know, the thing about, and people are like, well, what do you mean the CW show? I said, guys, we all know they couldn't get the license for Batman. Let's just get down to it.
Yeah.
So they took Green Arrow because they could get that license and they couldn't get Batman. So that's why Green Arrow was a little bit more dark-sided than we know him to be. Because Oliver Queen's not dark-sided like that entirely.
No,
he's not.
No, but that show had a following. Had a following. It had people. Smallville did too. So I think there's a following for a college kind of like Saved by the Bell drama. What would you call that era of TV? Like, I mean, that was much later.
Like 90210.
I would say superhero,
Smallville, all that.
Soap
that was
operas.
DC.
There you go.
Superhero
soap operas.
Let's talk a little bit Arrowverse. Legends of what was it? DC Legends
of Tomorrow?
And all that stuff. Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow. Like, I feel like DC's animated verse, their TV verse, is kind of more successful than the TV stuff from Marvel. Or
I agree.
Different flavor, you know what I mean? So where you guys stand with that stuff?
Laura, you want to go first?
What is it? The Green Arrow?
Well, just anything. Smallville, that type of show.
Smallville's part of the CW, so the shows of that time.
Smallville is, I love Smallville. I would like to see college.
Do you want movies, shows, or comics? Like, what do you want? You want shows?
Shows.
Format. What kind of format do you want your content, Laura?
I like the way that Smallville was set up. I like
like
that,
season.
But look older. You know.
Yeah. See, a lot of people like to get invested in long-term TV. They want 9-10 seasons of a show if it's that good. You know, it's just hard financially to get, you know, because Smallville was what, 11 to 15 seasons too? That was the Dawson's Creek era.
I would call them soap operas. Oh yeah, I watched Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, like that era, One Tree Hill, all that kind of stuff.
And
Seventh
Charmed,
Heaven.
yeah, that was.
I feel like that was when soap operas were in
Oh,
their time. You know what I mean? So my point being, Drew, I know a lot of that TV was. So would you even call it family TV? Like a lot of DC stuff feels like that to me. The Arrowverse always felt like you know, I don't know. It's just missing something for me. It's like the cinematic universe thing is one thing, but can the TV universe, where does that fit in amongst how Marvel's been doing things? What's
okay.
wrong with the TV verse right now?
Here we go. So, as the person on this panel that probably has the most DC experience, that's been around DC Comics the most, that knows these characters better than anything else, I know Oliver Queen very well. I know Clark Kent or Kal-El Zor-El very well. I know these characters very, very well. I would say this is what I would do. If the teen audience really wants, or the soap opera community really wants a superhero thing, you could give them a show, but you must do a 2-in-1. That audience is pleased. You must please my audience. So for our case, we want either a greatly detailed Netflix, Amazon Prime show, or movies that are comic book accurate, that would be more comic book accurate. I know there's challenges, so I said make it as close as you can comic book accurate. So I want a Green Arrow, Oliver Queen comic book edition. You know, I want a Superman that is reminiscent of classic Superman, even reaching back to a Christopher Reeves, you know, kind of a modern take on a Christopher Reeves Superman. You know, I would love to see that. You know, a lot of people have been waiting for that, but we haven't gotten it yet. You know, I want to see Green Lantern. I want to see Hal Jordan, John Stewart, Guy Gardner, and Kyle Rayner, and as well as Kilowog and Tomar Ray do what they do best. I
think they're just scared. They're scared of Green Lantern because of the way that the Ryan Reynolds movie went.
Well, that was their fault.
Yeah, and I think a Green Lantern Corps is different because you go from a police style, almost like Bad Boys.
Right.
You know, remember the old school UPN 9, Bad Boys, you know, they used to run in. It was live action TV, reality TV.
Cops.
That was the first reality show.
You talking about Cops?
Cops, yeah, you know, like do Green Lantern Corps like that. Like make them Galaxy Cops. Have fun with it.
Well, that's what they're supposed to be.
You know, because Green Lantern's kind of corny. He's kind of silly. So I feel like if you make a little comedy of it, but you make the action sequences really good and you get the writing very well and you develop the characters, it could work. Green Lantern's one of those things. He can be either really good or he can be really corny. And so it's like you kind of, the dynamic of it and how it comes together has to be good. So Green Lantern Corps, to me, don't center it around just the main Hal Jordan and John Stewart. I think coming in the timeline to a place where you got Hal maybe passing the torch to John and you have some character build up and dynamic between the two and come out of it as a group standpoint, as a Green Lantern Corps show, and give us 6 episodes and see if people mess with the Green Lantern Corps. Then you throw a little Martian Manhunter in there. You know what I'm saying? And you're getting 2 birds with 1 stone, and you're kind of building the Justice League a little again. And then you're redoing the Snyderverse, basically. So it's like you have to build the universe within the TVs and the movies again. I don't know why DC hasn't applied the Marvel formula yet. So,
well, yeah, we could do Dr. Fate, Martian Manhunter, Hawkman.
Cameos, yeah, that can all go cosmic. Who else we got? Justice Society.
Do the Teen Titans done correctly.
Yeah.
You could get into that done right. You could get into Dr. Midnight. You could get into Wildcat. You could get into the Alan Scott Green Lantern, which his powers are completely different. You could get into the Jay Garrick Flash. You know, there's DC has so many beloved characters that people connect with. I've met in my walk of life at least 1 or 2 people that connect with a DC character, and it's not your usual suspects. Yeah. I know somebody that loved the Alan Scott Green Lantern. I knew somebody that loved Wildcat as their favorite. I knew someone that Hawkman was their favorite. These are characters that we know that they don't get a lot of exposure, in the right way. And then we could really get an accurate Aquaman done correctly that could really shine. There's a lot that we could really do. We can get a Captain Boomerang. That would be an offshoot, Captain Boomerang deal. We could do that. The Legion of Doom, building to the Legion of Doom. Right. So if you want to follow a Marvel format, you start with characters. You could have heroes and villains together, in different films, and build to having the Justice League done properly and the Legion of Doom coming in. Because when the cartoon was going back in the 70s and 80s, when they eventually went from the 70s show and started to get more into the 80s, and then they had the Justice League versus the Legion of Doom, those were some of the most memorable cartoon episodes. And then when Justice League Unlimited started to get into that was huge. So see, every time it comes back like that. So that's the next move. You got the Infinity Gauntlet, have the Legion of Doom and the Justice League go head to head, and your kicker big villain, you know who it's got to be. It's got to be Darkseid. Darkseid.
Yeah, you got to build the Darkseid. They should be doing the Thanos saga with Darkseid.
That's right. Yeah, kick it off right. And
so let's cook a little bit, Drew. Let's do we got Green Lantern Corps, right? Let's do DC Potential, Green Lantern Corps, Hawk World, Justice Society.
Yes.
Right. They did the Black Adam thing. I would kind of leave that alone. Shazam, we've done. I'm going as far as Justice League. Like Wonder Woman, do we recast? What do you guys think? Let's pause on Wonder Woman. Where we at with situation? Because Gal's great. I think we have a Henry Cavill situation with her as well, right? Because they're scared to bring her back. I think they're scared to give some of these actors too much power, I think, which is why they don't bring them back so much. So I don't know if we're going to see a 10-movie deal or whatever Downey's deal was over on the DC side. Is Warner Brothers ready to build the whole saga? Let's say they do the Darkseid saga based on, where's our Chris Evans? Where's our Downey? Where's our Kevin Feige of DC? Like, how come the structure can't be mirrored or mimicked? You know what I mean? What is it about DC that's lacking, that's keeping them from being a smoother connecting universe than Marvel? They have already mastered an automatic darker undertone. Right? So they
think that their formula, and this was said before we had the Avengers, before it was leading that way, and we knew 100%. So from the first Iron Man, which it was mentioned that the Avengers was something that they're talking about, right? And so from there, DC was already saying like, no, we don't want to do Justice League and we're not going to compete at that. We're just going to do our thing. See, that's been their problem. And then when Avengers really kicked off and it was like, wow, then they were going, oh, quickly put a Justice League movie together, at the last minute. And remember, Justice League came out like in 5 seconds, right? It hit. They didn't build up anything. It was just boom, here it is. And see, that's their problem, is they do things their weird way. And when they get their butts kicked, then they show up with these movies at the last minute and they're already started to film and the movie's coming out next year and they haven't built anything. So if they're smart and James Gunn does it correctly for them, he would want to take his time and build these characters, because I already saw photo shots of what's his name from Firefly, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner Green Lantern.
Okay.
So I saw that and I'm like, okay, cool. But I think right now you got to establish Superman. So if that interferes with that, that's not a good move. If it doesn't, okay. But you got to establish this guy as Superman first. We got to like him first. We got to get into him first and see if we're going to like him. And if we like him, then we'll see your future product. But first, you got to sell Superman to us. Whoever you have to sell it to us. And us means the DC comic hardcore fans have to buy him in a way that's very similar to Christopher Reeves. Okay.
Right.
If they establish that, they've got something, because Christopher Reeves is the definitive Superman. George Reeves and Christopher Reeves were the two definitive Supermans of all time.
Right.
Okay. Nobody's been able to top what they did to this day. Whenever you see somebody represent Superman, it's either a comic book cut or sketch, or it's Christopher Reeves, or it's what? George.
Yeah.
It's always that three standard. It's always that. So
Trinity,
you got to have something that matches that. If you can do that, then we could talk about things. If you don't do that, it's going to sink. People have been calling for a Superman to come back since Christopher Reeves, and it has not happened yet.
So
they throw
let's
things,
pause.
but it didn't
Let's
work.
pause, Drew, on Supes then, right? Let's talk Supes real quick.
Sure.
So how about the Trinity itself, right? Do we recast Wonder Woman, which I think we do. I like the way Dupa Lupa looks. I've seen a lot of cosplayers with her, but something about the way Dupa Lupa looks. Is that her name, the singer? You know who that is?
No, I've never heard of this, but the name's making me think Oompa Loompa, but
yeah, Dupa Lupa or something like that. But I seen a Photoshop. These fan castings on the internet are amazing, because when the fans want someone, they'll just do it in the computer, and some of them look crazy. Like the girl from Stranger Things, Millie Bobby Brown, I'm seeing as Rogue, you know, with the hair and stuff like that. So they get crazy. Boss Logic does a lot of stuff with casting. So the Superman casting is important, because they need basically a Robert Downey type casting for Iron Man, but with Superman.
Yeah.
And do they have it with David? Is it Corin something? Corn Sweat or something?
I can't remember the guy's name. Corn Sweat. I can't remember the guy's name.
Sweat. David Keith Sweat. You know.
Oh boy.
But the guy they got cast as Superman right now. I don't like the suit. The suit is not really hitting for me. We talked about this a little bit, so they're already down on points. I'm not liking how it's looking, and then we're not getting Doomsday. Like I said, Darkseid is a necessity. So what do we do? Well, I don't think we have that Superman casting. I think we should be going into a Hawk World series too, maybe at some point. And the Justice Society with Dr. Fate, like you said, I mean, that's stuff right there. Green Lantern Corps, that's at least the next 5 years in DC on TV. You know what I mean? And then bring back, I mean, you got Lewis and Superman and not Superman and Lewis. What's the last one, Amy Joe, we were just talking about?
Lois?
The Adventures. Lewis and Clark is the older one, I think.
Right. So Superman and Lewis is the current one right now.
Yeah, Superman and Lewis. You got that too. So that's like Smallville to me. That has that kind of vibes.
It does.
Grown up, grown up. He's got the kids. So where do you guys go with the Trinity? And of course, Batman. Do we do Pattinson? Do we bring back Batfleck? So those are the important three. DC got to get the Trinity right. So where do you guys start with those three? Because without where you put those, you know what I mean, determines how the train leaves the station and how the universe forms. It's rearranging the time stones, you know what I mean? The Infinity Stones, just like Marvel did. They need their Infinity Saga. How does DC do it? Intertwining between TV and movies, you know what I mean? They have to both connect, and which should be a show, which should be a movie. We got Green Lantern Corps. That's definitely a show. Hawk World can be a show. Anything on the Hawk. Martian Manhunter can be part of the Green Lantern thing. Wonder Woman, I think, needs a recast. And you definitely need a different Batman for the Justice League, no? Or do we throw Pattinson in there?
I think Alan Richardson, that does the Jack Reacher show, would be the Batman right now.
Yeah.
I think he would be the guy that they could do quite a few films with for a while. I think he would be the guy. I think he's got the height, definitely the physique. I think he's got enough of the acting chops to make this work. And as long as they give him the black and gray traditional suit with yellow utility belt, I want it back.
Yeah.
Enough time with it. Do that right. And I want a really nice Batmobile and a really nice Batwing and a really nice bat cycle and all his bat vehicles to be what they need to be, and the cave to be what it is. Alfred's got to be on point totally, you know, that's got to be correct as well. And the relationship between them. I think that that's got to be right all the way down. I would like to have a young Dick Grayson in time built up.
Big facts. Nightwing, big facts. More than Robin, more so. I say more say than Robin. I want some Nightwing.
Well, you got to have Dick Grayson young first, as Robin first, before you get, and then have him grow into Nightwing. You know, because he's got to be a
character build up has to happen,
right? Because you got to start him young and then let him build to teenage years and late teenage years to when he gets fired by Batman, and then becomes Nightwing. You know, out of that, you know. So
man, Red Hood, we could do some Red Hood, man. The Bat family itself needs to be explored. I think you really can make money with the Bat family, and they're already doing it with Penguin. They got the Cape Crusader series. So I think the Batfleck, they should definitely close out the Batfleck with the Deathstroke movie. That we talked about that too.
Oh yeah,
give him one last shot, see how that goes, and then maybe the guy you're talking about, or mix it up. I think the Elseworld badge will save DC. You can do a whole bunch of experimental one shots, quick money grabs. Whatever you want, as long as they're good, throw an Elseworld badge on it, so that you don't got to worry about canon and all the other nonsense. So, I think that's important. Just like the Midnight Sun brand and the Marvel Knight brand. I mean, it's important to Marvel. I think the Elseworld moniker is just as important to DC. They've got to be able to balance and go in between the different realms within the franchise.
No, I agree. I definitely agree with that. Laura, did you have anything for us on the subject?
No, I mean, I'm not as knowledgeable as you guys. I'm just enjoying you guys. I love sitting here and listening to you guys nerd out. It's great. One of my favorite things about this show is listening and learning about your perspectives on the whole comic book and everything else. So keep cooking.
Yeah, right. I mean, Laura definitely wants the soap operas, right? You want to rank them at least. You want more soap opera type shows, action.
I didn't like soap operas. No, I've never seen. Actually, I've seen one. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of soap operas. I just like regular TV shows. Charmed. I don't know if that was a soap opera.
I'm surprised they didn't remake Charmed.
They did. They tried to. They did a reboot. I don't think it was very good.
Yeah.
But
what about Wonder Woman? How you feeling about the Wonder Woman situation? Should they recast
I actually have never seen Wonder Woman.
What? Oh, you're missing out, girl. Gotta watch that.
I heard that Gal Gadot was very good in that. So I've never heard anything different. So why not do her? If she was, again, it goes back to if it's not broken, don't fix it. So if she was good and people liked her, why not use her again?
And who's your Superman when we ask you?
Dean Lewis, Dean Clark, Dean
Kane. Dean Kane. The Adventures of Lewis and Clark. I was saying that earlier. That has the same kind of vibe.
I liked him.
The one we got now, That's funny you say that. I forgot. A lot of people forget Dean Kane was Superman.
Yep.
That was the old WB show too, around the same time.
Channel ABC. This is before. Because we're going back to 90. What was that? 90.
There was more Supermans than Batmans.
Yeah. I love that.
Think about it.
Superman had a lot of TV shows. Batman didn't have any except for the 66.
Yeah.
Unless you count animated stuff.
Good job, Laura. I forgot about Dean Kane. I said
George Reeves was the first TV show. Kirk Allen was the original series, movie, television, movie serials that they had in theaters, back in the 40s. So Kirk Allen was first, the original Superman. Then you had George Reeves. Then you had Christopher. Then you had the young man that did the two Superboy series in the late 80s that were briefly ran through. They had two different guys that played Superboy. Then from Superboy, you ended up with Dean Cain.
And I feel like you can't really have a DC universe without the Holy Trinity, bud.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? I mean, if you got to master those three before it goes anywhere. That's the tripod it's built on. That's the, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman got to be right. They just got to be, And I know it's been done, and you can do everyone around them first and then come back. But eventually you got to swing the block for the big three, and they got to be right.
Right.
So, I mean, Wonder Woman I love how the second one opens up with the competition. I think you can do a whole Wonder Woman movie on how, start the movie with the Amazons jumping the ship like they do in the comic books, and they kill everybody on board. They kill all the men. Like, they mate with them and then they murder them. A lot of people don't know the Amazonians are nuts. They'll hijack a boat, mate with all the men, get pregnant, and then they kill them and throw them overboard. That's a technical comic accurate Wonder Woman.
I didn't know that.
It's brutal. It's crazy. True. That's what they do. You know what I mean? That's how they, orchestrate their race with no men. You know what I mean? Because they need men to get pregnant. A lot of people don't know that. So, like, to show that side of the comics a little bit, maybe not as gruesome or, brutal as you need to, but look at where the boys is going. You know what I'm saying? It's like people are looking. Is it superhero fatigue, like we're saying, or is it just lack of writing, lack of development, and lack of what's necessary to make franchises good?
I think all of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people are still looking for Linda Carter, something like Linda Carter, or looks like Linda Carter, the original Wonder Woman.
Yeah. She's the epitome of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she was the original TV series for Wonder Woman in the 70s. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are looking for that.
So where do we go? Where do we go with Wonder Woman? Even if we don't recast it, where do you guys think we go? Do we do part 3? Wasn't okayed, right? I don't think they greenlit.
You mean part 2? Did they do a third? I thought they just did 2.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Where's 3? Is Gal going to get a third one?
Right.
I think she's got another one in her. If there's anyone they do reuse from the last universe,
it'd be her.
It's her. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I do think that there's better Wonder Woman out there because she doesn't have the comic book body. She has the face. She's beautiful. She played the part great. But man,
yeah, there's some.
I need some more curves a little bit. I need some more curves. I'm not, only because it's the Amazonian thing. You know what I mean? It's like, the more comic book accurate, the better for me. So I'm down to look at some recasting and leave, because the last one was so atrocious that maybe she don't deserve that third one.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that last one was.
Which is kind of a penalty. So it's like, do you recast her and have her just come out in someone else's stuff and then slowly work the hype back up and see if you do another Wonder Woman trilogy?
Mm-hmm.
And do the Chris Evans thing. It didn't really work as Torch, so he came back as Cap. So it's like, the first round of Wonder Woman didn't work, so recast and go again, So that's where I think Wonder Woman's at. She's kind of on the conveyor belt a little bit. They're kind of trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do with her. But Soups is hit or miss. It's ready to hit the dartboard, and we're going to see if the fans really mess with it or not. And Batman always makes money. He's like Spider-Man. They're going to always give us different type of socks in the sock drawer, but you're always going to need socks. You know what I mean? It's like Batman's always going to be the one. Thank God for him. Same with Spider-Man and Marvel. So,
well, he's made money since his beginning, since the inception, So he's always been a player. If you have Lewis Wilson, who was the original Batman during the 1940s, and then he was replaced by Robert Lowry, after that, and continued to tell the serials that you would see in theater. My dad was old enough in that time as a kid where he saw them in serials. back then, black and white. And then, then we have, of course, the Adam West, that comes in. And then after, but that was a big, oh boy, they took the edge off of Batman. And that was something that it worked for the time, but when it was over, it was over. Yeah. And everybody was like, where is, and really, how do we take Batman to a new height? The day of him being campy, hanging out with the Boy Scouts is done. Mm-hmm. Where do we go? And in comes a young Neil Adams, that redesigns Batman, brings back the darkness, brings back the physique and the look that we all know is Batman as we see him today. And that's thanks to Neil Adams, who I've got to meet when he was still alive and have conversations with him. Mm-hmm. You bring that in there. Where's the Jerry Robinson Joker? The Bill Finger Edge, we got to bring that back. And that's what launched into that, which led to eventually getting to the 80s and getting to Frank Miller doing The Dark Knight in year one. They saw that. People got big interest in Batman. He was shooting up all over the place. And that's, of course, what lit the, green light to do the Tim Burton 89 Batman movie. And then we saw Batman like we had never seen on screen. Right. And then the rest was kind of history from there.
Well, can I ask you something, Drew? Why do you think that spin-offs, like if Amazon was smart and with the success of The Boys, alternate superheroes genre, I call it, everything outside of Marvel and DC and all that stuff. Stuff like The Shadow was a flop. And Amazon Prime can go for the independent stuff. Something's Killing Children got picked up. Stuff like that. Specs Comics, the indies are very popular. Beneath the Trees, I think, got one. World Tree, stuff like that. So it's not just the big three per se.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Is popping too. So why? I mean, The Shadow they tried to do right in like a 300 Sin City style. That was kind of a flop.
Well, they did the original Shadow movie outside of the serials, but the 90, I think it came out in 94, 95. Alec Baldwin played him.
Or the Spirit. Oh, there was the Spirit.
No, the Spirit. The Spirit's is an Eisner character that they did later on. Different. But
stuff like that independent style.
So you could do something with the Spirit if you want like a series. You could do something with the Shadow, have Lamont Cranston and all that good stuff. Have Kit Walker, the Phantom come back, Flash Gordon come back.
Yeah. Or movies like Max Payne, Drew. Why didn't movies like Max Payne not work? Even the video game stuff. Even we got DC, we got Star Wars, we got Marvel. How come even the video game stuff? Like, why would a movie with Max Payne not work?
Well, I think Max Payne should have been a series. I think if they put together a really good series, and this is what I'm getting to, Rican, is like all the things we just mentioned should be television, should be Netflix, Amazon series that they could do and really flesh out the characters and build something awesome. Very much like they did with Daredevil. How they took Daredevil, so then they could do that and really build something awesome. And like you said, these characters have been off the plate for so long, as far as movies go or television series goes. They brought back some of the action figures for, fan nostalgia, which is great. And I mean, I have some of it, so it's fantastic, but I would like to see a really nice series of these characters, because we can get other stories outside of Marvel and DC, and Dark Horse and things like that, and Image. We could go into deeper things like that. And at the same time, go to those companies and the lower end characters or forgotten stories that people enjoyed or thought were cool. You can start doing things for them as well. So it's like, you can really get into like, I was telling you about Team 7, the other day. Remember that? I would love to see a Team 7.
Yeah, which is the 7 in The Boys. Like I told you 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 didn't even know that they called them the 7.
I was like, really?
Yeah.
Because I hadn't watched the show, and I was just like, you told me that, and I'm glad you told me that. I was like, I think they did take that from Team 7, and you were telling me how they got their powers and all that stuff. I said,
Yeah.
I think they did take that from Team 7.
Well, I mean, I think they should dive into like SWAT cats, street sharks,
Oh my gosh.
stuff like that. I mean, there's franchises and IPs that you wouldn't think would work, but the right CGI teams. I mean, look at Suicide Squad, the King Shark thing. You give me 4 of those,
Mhm.
right? And a pretty good, halfway decent Ninja Turtle kind of vibe, 89 Turtles, but make sure the CGI looks right. You could do a Street Shark movie. You could do a Biker Mice. You could do a SWAT Cats.
Biker Mice from Mars is interesting because it came back. Like they did like a continuation series. They just brought back the figures. It has a fan base. And I remember as a kid when it came out, it was popular, but I didn't know it was popular like that.
Me neither.
People still fought for it. And SWAT Cats is a show people have never stopped fighting for. So if they did a new animation for SWAT Cats, they did it for people are asking for Street Sharks. I thought it was weird, but okay. That stuff has a place. You could bring back a lot of these things as well that didn't get a chance.
But that's deep-rooted nostalgia, I feel like. A lot of that, that will get fatigued quick. After we've ran through those shows.
Yeah.
After that, I think fatigue will set in. And that's why I think the superhero genre is at. So I think we'll buy some time doing that kind of stuff. But after we've done everything under the sun, y'all gonna have to go back to real character development, real, original characters, maybe new stories, new stuff. Because that's why the indie world is shining a little bit, because that oversaturation and that fatigue of the superhero realm has been running since 2008, right? It's already been almost 20 years, 24 years. This stuff has been head of the game. How do we switch it up? So, I mean, the only people competing is Star Wars too. We got to get to that can be its own show. How the hell we fix Star Wars? It's a mess out here. The Force ain't so strong anymore as it used to be. I mean, how you feel about Star Wars, Laura?
I haven't seen any of the new stuff, but I hear it's pretty awful.
Yeah, and you're not even a diehard Star Wars fan like that. And the smoke in your, in the air is wow. What's going on with Star Wars?
So, yeah, I've heard it's not good.
It's tragic. Same thing with our Rangers. It's like, man, oh man, when are they gonna get this right? So, that's pretty much it. Like, we were talking about Henry Cavill earlier. The Highlander idea. That's a good move. Mortal Kombat 2 is coming out.
And I'm a Highlander fan. I followed the original Highlander.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan. So, and if I just give me 2 seconds, guys, I'm not going to suck up a lot of time with it. The thing about Highlander that all of us that know Highlander or are fans is we all know after the first movie, the timeline got so weird and walky after that. Like they just, okay, now we're doing here. And now we're in the future. And now they're aliens. They're not immortals. And then so if they did something that was going to be a cohesive, consistent storyline, that would actually be a good thing.
Well, I was thinking in this Power Ranger movie, in Rise of the Ninjetti, just to give you guys a little sneak peek of the script, I'm a big fan of Quantum Leap.
Oh, yeah, Scott Bakula.
I'm doing a Quantum Ranger thing. This whole quantum continuum, this whole thing with Billy and David Yost, this idea of moving through the Rangerverse, Quantum Leap comes to mind. So, kind of think of like the Quantum Ranger going in between dimensions, recruiting and sending messages and letting the Rangers know there's a war coming, the Ninjetti Temple's falling. So we'll see what happens. I think it's I forget the name of the device, but the Time Force Rangers have a device that they can jump in and out of
Chronomorphers.
Is it Chronomorphers? Yeah. So that's a done deal, Star Wars, I don't know. What you guys think of the Acolyte?
This is Star Wars, is what I have to say, since I'm the biggest Star Wars fan on this panel of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
This is an original Empire Strikes Back Luke Skywalker style figure. This is Star Wars. Star Wars is this. Now Star Wars has become something else, but they didn't put the care they put into this. I'm not saying that every story has to sit around Luke Skywalker and the bunch. It'd be nice if they revisit them here and there. You could tell other stories, but the stories have to be made well and with feeling. And I felt like after, in Chris Claremont, who I know, Rican, you're familiar with, who's the main writer for the X-Men that made the X-Men what they are, who carried a successful run since 1975 up until, until 1991, 92. Okay. He said this. He said, when they announced that the next group of Star Wars movies was going to be the Anakin Skywalker thing, he said, I was already turned off. He's like, I felt that should have been a series. I said, that's what I said. But as far as the magic of Star Wars, he said it is Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, Lando Calrissian, Chewbacca. He said that is the core of the story. And once that was not going, he said, then they had a problem, because what he proposed was that those characters, don't let them age. Let them stay youthful, because like comic book characters that don't exactly age, they are the core of that, and they need to always kind of be around.
It makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, True.
Yeah.
For real. That's the nucleus of the franchise.
It is. It really is. It's like you keep them youthful. You might have to recast after, a while, because, that was, Harrison Ford's in his 80s now.
So you're saying redo the original?
I'm saying this. They don't have to redo the original, but continued adventures after the original movies. And you would probably have to recast to keep them a certain age. So that's what Claremont was saying. After Return of the Jedi, pick up after that, just adventures with Luke and the bunch, to give that. And then you could tell other stories as well, but they just need to be in the equation, to go back to them and do projects with them. But then you could also do other things. That's where the whole Anakin Skywalker thing should have come out, was a television series, because originally George Lucas was talking more of a television series kind of a thing for Star Wars. And I said, well, if he takes that Anakin Skywalker idea instead of doing the movies and makes that a series that we can really flesh out his character, and it's well written, and we could really see the Darth Vader come out of him and do the whole thing, that would be cool in a series. And a movie, 3 movies is not enough to really do that story. And I said that back then. And what we ended up getting was even shorter than that. And I was like, oh boy, they really jumped. They needed more time. They needed more development, because they literally said in the Revenge of the Sith, which I wasn't a big fan. I did not like any of those movies, but I remember when they did Revenge of the Sith, the one question I did have was, how come he's walking around using the same lightsaber and the same outfit killing Jedi? He's wearing the same thing. The same thing he wears when he's your friend, he's wearing it. When he's not your friend, he's wearing the same outfit. No red lightsaber, no black outfit, nothing to disguise himself. Why is he just walking around like that? You know what they said? George Lucas said, we didn't have time to make the costume, and we were working on a suit, but there just wasn't enough time, and we couldn't get it right. And I was like,
they just blacked his eyes, gave him a little red.
Yeah, that's all they did. And so I'm like, if you had a series, you could really flesh that out. You could really show some things, and you could make people like that storyline a little better, because that divided, when that first came out, that divided the fandom. When the prequels came out, it divided, and that wasn't what should have happened. They should have made it all cohesive and made it fit, and they rewrote a lot of things. So it's like, that's the problem with Star Wars. And then from that moment on, it went from that, which we thought was like, got even worse. And then here we are. And now you've got the Acolyte, and the Acolyte is awful, And so
it's just fishing and putting a whole bunch of nonsense together with a Star Wars badge.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's nuts, man. And apparently, the new Star Wars universe, you can get stabbed with a lightsaber and not die. It's a little ridiculous. So I'm kind of, thank God for Mando. Mando's the only thing that really kept the Star Wars blood alive, because it had blood to what's his name, Boba Fett. It kind of had that energy the whole time, which I would put Boba Fett right next to Lando as far as like a main character. He is.
they
So
just
I would put him in there, in that crew.
it's
Maybe
interesting
Jabba,
about Boba Fett, man,
maybe
because
Jabba too.
he's not, he doesn't say a lot. He's in the movie a short amount of time, but his appearance is what sold him, and the
Yeah.
few words he said and the aura he had around him sold him as it was. And that's where they needed to build on him. And that was the mistake with Return of the Jedi, was because Return of the Jedi went the way it did because George Lucas didn't want to make anymore. There was a plan after Return of the Jedi. There were supposed to be 3 more movies of Luke. And then they were supposed to go into Luke's actual twin sister. And the Emperor was not supposed to die in Return of the Jedi. The Emperor is supposed to live. And Luke is supposed to go out of Return of the Jedi looking for his long-lost sister, finding her, training her, getting her ready. And then they were supposed to go head with the Emperor. So there was a bigger story for that. But he said, I don't want to do anymore. He was going through a divorce. He's like, I just want to end it with Return of the Jedi. So it was all rushed down, So there's parts of Jedi that feel natural. There's parts of it that feel rushed. There's parts of it that have, what the heck are these Ewoks? It didn't fit, And so that was the problem, like the Death Star coming back was not the plan. Like they were supposed to craft something Death Star like, but it was way different. And the way it worked and where they had it and how it came together was a whole nother thing. So it really was like an innovative new idea off of something old that would have worked great, but they didn't do that. So that was the problem with Star Wars, is that it started to get to a place where they were rushing things. And that's what started to get Harrison Ford, by Empire. He didn't know what else to do. So he was disinterested in the continuation of Han Solo. Yeah, that's why he was like, just kill Han Solo because I don't know what else to,
That movie was so disappointing too, by the way. Man, that was such a flop for me.
You talking about the Indiana Jones movie?
No, both of them, but the Han Solo one.
Oh, the Solo movie. Yes.
Yeah. Crash.
Here's the thing about Solo. Solo really could have been something if they tweaked it here and tweaked it there. It really could have been something.
Yeah.
That was
I didn't like the main dude. I didn't like it. He didn't have the pizzazz and the charisma that Harrison had.
He did not. He did his own thing, which everybody can respect. But the thing about it is this. He made it his own, but at the same time, listen, boys and girls, it is Han Solo. So you do have to be representing Harrison Ford in some form of Han Solo in that, and that was the thing about it. So they took a lot of liberties with it. They kept some things kind of similar, kind of not. I will say it was better than episodes 7, 8, 9, but it was not what it should have been. There was still some work that needed to be done. Now, the word is there was another version. There was, and same with Rogue One. There was also another version of Rogue One.
I liked Rogue One.
I did. And I heard that there's another version. And so for both of those movies, there were other things going on. And then people intervened and said, no, take this version. So again, they kind of got in that rushed, we don't like this kind of spot, instead of really letting them craft something special together and really making it Solo like the ultimate movie. The cool thing about Rogue One is the version we did get, it works, and we like Rogue One. But the version we could have gotten, I heard, was even better. So that's the thing about it. So they were very good. And that kind of shows you the potential, right, of Rogue One. Is like, if we saw that and we like that, and the other version's even better, it's like, wow. But with Solo, it's like there was rush, there was this, there was, we got to change this, and we got to, at the last minute, there was too much of that. And that's been the problem with Star Wars, is when you have a project that you really could make work, they're all over it. Like, don't do this, and we're going to rush this. But the projects nobody wants, or they're kind of crappy, they just let them do whatever they want to do. And see, that's the problem. You can have that, you can have this, we don't care. But the projects that people really seem like original fans would get behind, those are the ones they don't want to do any more of, or those are the ones they try to somewhat mess up, So
I got the solution, Drew. Check it out. You remember Dark Forces?
Oh, yeah.
The video game, it was a closet hit. Stuff like that. Give us Kyle Katarn.
Oh boy, people have talked about Kyle Katarn for years.
Give us Kyle
And
Katarn, Dark Forces, that whole thing.
yeah, they've
That
talked
game
about
was
it.
a hit. Turn that into a hit show or series, and do what you did with Mando and with like Favreau did, and give us Kyle Katarn. Or not. Give us a new Han Solo, you know? He could do that. He could be that. Same way
Kyle
Matt
could be
Cook.
something like that. Yeah, I
Same
could
way Matt Cook
see.
can be, you know? Viking could play a good Kyle Katarn for sure. You know what
He's
I'm
got the
saying?
beard. Yeah, he could
He's
rock
got the
that.
beard, you know, he can do something, the intergalactic bounty hunter. So it's like we can become a force, bud, within this little industry of action, science fiction. Like if you know what to write and put together, these guys don't know what they're doing. There's so much out there in the lore, and this stuff has been around for so long that you got to know what to do. You got to know how to connect it, what to put into it, how it's done. We got to go back to formula with a lot of things, man.
Yeah. That's what I
So,
saw. I don't know how the new Alien's going to be, but the trailers look pretty trippy from
yeah,
what I've seen. But I
we should
see that
review
they've
that next.
yeah, that's going
Let's
to be
go
the
see
next.
that and review that, bud. I know you're an Aliens fan. We should do that.
I got to get somebody to go with me because my wife looked at that trailer. She said, "I'm not going to watch
Yeah.
that." Like,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
So I gotta get, but I will review it. But what I want to say
I'll send you the
is,
bootleg.
what I will say about that is, you see, it's going back to a time. It's
Yeah,
trying to build to make the aliens scary, fearful, to make audiences feel that this in space, no one could hear you scream, which was the original title of the '79 movie, right? And
right,
everybody was terrified, right? They're
right.
trying to get back to that moment again. And
Well, that's
that
the essence
will
of
work.
Aliens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to build that again. And from there, you can do Colonial Marines and you can get into all this once that's established, because Alien needs to be kicked really hard to get a nice reboot to get it
Yeah.
right. Because after the original and the second movie, which we all love the second, after that was done, it went downhill. So we got to kick this thing back up. Same thing needs to happen real quick, guys, on Predator. If
Yes.
you want Predator to be good, you got to take a little bit of that first movie and you got to get original. Yes, Prey, it was cool, but nothing beats the original 87 movie.
Yeah.
That
Oh, yeah.
movie right there was the
With
ultimate.
Arnold? With Arnold?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
like that one? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
you
that's
You
something
are.
I have seen, so I'm not
Yeah.
completely in the dark. But yeah,
can't
Yeah.
you can't
More
you can't
80s
beat
stuff.
that. You can't beat that, guys. That's the thing about it. So it's like,
Even the Fast and Furious saga, bring it back to the original. Good car racing. Make it about the car scene. Go back to a lot of things need to go back to formula, Drew.
we got to get back to I ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to get that. We got to get that right. I made this one, by the way, guys. Everybody checking this out. I did this.
Classic movie.
It is. Now, Fast and Furious, you got me on that one. I don't know. I wasn't into Fast and Furious. That it was
I
never my
wasn't
speed.
either.
I was a Mad Max fan. That was my car movie. So
Yeah.
Mad
Yeah.
Max was where it was at. Mel Gibson, not Tom Hardy. Mel Gibson, Mad Max was where it was at for me. And that was my car movie. When Fast and Furious came out, it was not my thing.
Yeah,
And then
that
didn't
was-
they shoot off Tyrese in space, by the way? That's what I heard. The last movie.
I
They
think
shoot
something
off
like
in
that.
space.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
did that
gotten
scream he
ridiculous.
does. That's all I want to see. If you show me Tyrese screaming, I'll just watch that for a second. That's all I want to see.
Well, I think we covered everything. Let's get into get into Lady Laura's section.
Actually, you two cook for a minute. If you'll excuse me for a moment.
Yeah. As soon as
I'll
you
be
get
right
back, we'll
back.
jump into your segment.
Laura, do you want me to talk about the one thing and then
Sure.
Okay. That's what we're gonna do.
Set
I
it
just
up
wanted
for
to
you.
check. All right. So guys, we want to talk about somebody that Rick and we kind of know. It's kind of an anonymous, kind of random thing. Young people going through dark times and loss of parents and depressions and not fitting in and things of that nature. It could really take a toll on people. And, unfortunately, some people may make rash decisions out of that. What I want to say, guys, is listen, we have fun with the comic stuff, Power Ranger stuff. We live it up, but we also got to talk about because it's big in our community, the nerd community, as well as other communities. It's very important. Mental health. Mental health is a big thing we got to talk about because too many people have taken their lives. We had Ed Piskor, who was a comic creator. He had a situation happen, and it wasn't a full fleshed out story about who, what, when, and where. But as soon as they got a hold of that, they chased after him, and he freaking killed himself. He even wrote a note, a suicide note. And I had written at Ed Piskor before, and he was a real cool guy. And I was really upset to hear that. Rob Liefeld did a whole thing about that and was like, this is so messed up. And getting back to the interaction that Rican and I had is this: young people, old people, middle people, we all go through ups and downs, and we think the worst in life and we don't want to be here and all that stuff like that. That's our minds thinking of today, right now, at that moment. It's not thinking about the future, because if you thought about the future, it will get better. This is just today, not tomorrow, not the future. In 10 years, will you still be stuck, upset, or bothered by that situation? Or will you evolve and grow and learn how to deal with it? You'll evolve and learn how to deal with it. It'll take time, but you will evolve and change and grow and do. Okay? Especially if you really work on it, you'll be even better. But if you don't give yourself that opportunity by, unfortunately, taking drastic measures, you'll never get to see what you really could become. Because, see, we're here on this earth for a time. But while we're here, we are meant to be here to become and do something greater than what we thought. And there's greatness inside all of us. And we can never be truly great if we cut it off too soon before we get a chance to see it. I know life can be painful. You guys, I'll do a section about Drew's story. Yeah, you guys see me as fun and loving because I am. But I did live a life where I didn't have great things, where stuff was very difficult and very challenging. Okay. I actually attempted, myself twice. Okay. True stuff. So I know, but I had to look back on it and say, you know what? If I did that when I was in high school, because that's when that happened, I never would have met my wife. I never would have had my son. I would have never met Laura or Rican. I never would have met my best friend besides my wife. I would have never seen how people grew and changed and all that stuff like that. Some people just want to look at the bad. You have to look at the bad, the middle, and the good, because it's all part of life. But if you just focus in on the bad and you let it seep in and corrupt you like a face hugger, like an alien infested in your stomach, it will pop out and it will kill you. So the thing is, you have to see all the shades of life. And from it, you'll see the beauty, because you'll know that it's not always going to be bad. You know that good and bad and middle times will happen, because that's the flux of life. Everybody goes through it. People think, oh, if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't have to work. Maybe money-wise, okay? But let's face it, you don't get your taxes right, you won't have any money. So see, it could still get you. And because you might have all this money, look at Jeff Bezos. Look at what's his name? Bill Gates.
Yeah.
They still married?
Bezos' wife still left him with all that money.
They still had wives that took their way and left. So money will not give you everything that you think it's going to be. It will take care of this, maybe this over here and this. It will not save your soul, and it will not stop your spouse from leaving you. Okay? If you do not have the tools and the correct attitudes and how to deal with situations in life and have the master's degree, as I call it, in marriage, if you don't develop that with each other, growing together, how to build a strong marriage, then no matter how much money you got, it's not going to save you. When you go, I believe in God. When you go, it's not going to save your soul. You can't go, hey, God, here's 10 million. Let me in the front gate. He's going to judge you by your actions, okay? And you guys we all have to understand that. that we have to do the right things while we're here. Be kind to each other. Be helpful to each other. We're going to make mistakes. Ask for forgiveness. Turn over a new leaf. Be a better person. Some people will accept it. Some people won't. And hey, guys, sometimes that's how it is. Okay.
Mhm.
You could make everything right for somebody, literally, and they will never accept you. Okay. They'll never accept you. I'm going to tell you guys something real quick, and it's going to be a fast story. My wife's father never accepted me. Okay. It was a color issue. It's true. But he took that as the God honest gospel that was where it was going. He never got to know me as a person.
Mhm.
He wants nothing to do with his grandson. That's a decision that he made. You see, he let that stuff cloud him for his own weird reasons. But whatever those reasons are, it's got nothing to do with me.
Right.
What's it have to do with me as an individual? See, people get caught up in things like that, like, oh, well, thus and so person was like this, so everybody's like that. No, everybody's not like that. That person is like that. Learn that. If you learn one thing from this video, learn this, that not everybody is like that. Okay? Yeah. Those people are like that, that do that. But it doesn't speak for everybody. Some guy might do something and his son might be the best person in the world, but because he's related to that person, you think that that's it? My partner, when I was working investigations, he knew a guy that was the son of David Duke, that is the leader of the Ku Klux Klan. Okay? Knew the grandson. Grandson was a great guy. We all know, grandfather's a trip. But the son was one of the best guys you could be around. See, that's what I'm saying. We can't judge that. We can't judge that fruit, by their old fruit, that they came from. So that's the thing we always got to remember, because people seem to leave that side of the story out, is that journey, is that they think, oh, all rappers are bad and like this. Well, you might be one that's a good dude. Somewhere in Australia, there might be a rapper that says nothing but good things and has good positive things around him and handles himself in a real respectable kind of way, right? Or in Japan somewhere, Korea, the backwoods of Tarzana. I don't know. But what I do know is we cannot judge everyone by the same standard. You have to judge them as the individual they are. And with that, you also have to accept that people are going to make mistakes and you're going to make mistakes. I see so many people so judgy on that, but they don't look at the mistakes that they've caused. You have to understand that people can make mistakes. Some people are just, hey, bad nuts altogether. Okay. That's how it is. They don't want to change. Some people are like that, but some people do want to change. Some people do want to be better. Some people are willing to do what it takes to get better, to break themselves down to a point to become something better, to be cocooned and rise out being a butterfly or a phoenix from the ashes and being a better person. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. I don't want to ramble on too long because I could go into many stories that you guys would go, wow.
Yeah.
One incredible one that's really cool, but I don't want to stay on here too long. I want you guys to go.
Well, you're very passionate about this. We all are. And I think depression, anxiety is an important part of this show and the world and society. And it's what's going on right now. So I think it's energy mastering, mastering that energy. And to me, depression, all I can speak for is myself, True. I was just listening to you. You could go for days with all that stuff, because you've got so many stories and experiences with the lows of lows in that part of that realm. You know what I mean? So it's definitely something you guys can bring over here to this floor, and we'll know how to deal with it. We'll know how to get you, to open up and express. That's what it's about. You're feeling suppressed. Suppressed is so similar to depressed. It's like, it's almost the same word backwards, kind of. It's like your emotions, you feel like you can't let them out. You feel like no one's listening. You have this world in your mind that you envision that may not be for you, and it may not be the way that you want it, and you're depressed because your will is not God's will sometimes. You know what I mean? So depression can come from all types of causes and forms, but it's mastering which part of it deserves your energy, right? So if you're depressed about things that don't matter, let them go. It's all hard drive space. This is the master computer, right? How do computers
True.
run when they're super hot, they're overloaded, they're low on hard drive space. Think about how your computer actually runs, right? It's gonna run like crap. It's not. That's really all it is. It's balance. And the anxiety is you waking up. It's almost like your satellite dish is connecting to all this information, all this knowledge, everything. As soon as you wake up, all these thoughts rush in. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got this person beefing with me. I got to buy this. I got this bill. It's just on and on and on and on. Anxiety is just too much stuff smacking you in the face at once, and you have no vision. There's no clarity. There's no anything. It's just chaos. Chaos. So, the best way I can put it is when you find yourself amongst the storm, the chaos, reset. Take the cartridge out of the Nintendo, blow it down, find out what you need to balance yourself, ground yourself, put the cartridge back in, and play the game. Because if you don't, there's a 50-50 chance you could be wrong, right?
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
if you're wrong? You think you're in pain. You think it's unbearable. You think you can't take anymore. But what if I told you your way out is just a doorway to the real pain, to the real suffering? Okay? There's a 50-50 chance that I know what I believe. I know what where my perspective is at. But if you're wrong and you decide that your energy is yours to take, you have to answer for that. You know what I'm saying? That it could be just the pain beginning. So it's
Yeah.
just something to think about, you know. So even though you're suffering now, um, it doesn't hold a candle to the eternal suffering that may happen if there is no way out. What if the only way is out? The only way out of this is to suffer, right? Because the
True.
only way to really operate is within the suffering. So the only true peace we have is the person that put us here, right? And it wasn't us. We can't all agree. Was it the Big Bang Theory? Did we crawl out of primordial soup? Did we evolve from apes? I mean, yeah, there's so much stuff you can put your mind on other than being depressed.
Yeah.
You want to fight depression? Give it some intelligence, give it some creativity, give it some endorphins in your brain to counteract the basement. You don't want to sleep in the basement? Then go grab your stuff and move to the attic. So when you're low, obviously it's a frequency. Crawl up the chakras, control your energy, master your energy. And then it's not yours to take. What if? That's gonna be Rikin's final thought. What if your energy isn't yours to take? I know it's painful. I know it hurts. I know it looks and appears like a way out, but that's what the devil wants you to think. As soon as you go that way and go through that door, the pain is just beginning. I promise you. Put yourself in that perspective. Picture yourself as Casper floating around on your way up or down, 50-50, right? Watching your loved ones suffer. You're already down on the scoreboard, right? So let's say you do that. It's my life. I'm going to go on my terms. Well, what about everybody around you? So the moment you make that decision, the first peninsula that you got to walk through as a spirit is putting through everyone around you through pain. So I don't want to call it selfish because you think the way out is a way to protect yourself from the pain or a way to make it stop. So your intention is not rooted in malice. It's rooted in just I've had enough. And I understand. I do. I've been there. I've seen other people there. I truly understand the abyss, right? The abyss. It's called that for a reason. There is no way out. The only way out is in. Embrace it. Be one with it. Use it as a weapon. Think about it. People see someone who's been through so much pain, right? And they have it as armor and a weapon. They're just so strong. Their strength is going to push other people to be strong. So at the end of the day, when you feel weak and you want to take your life and you want to self delete or whatever it is you're going through and think that that is the better option, I I beg you to reconsider. I beg you to reconsider because if you don't gamble, you don't play with dice, what if you're wrong? What if the pain you think you're getting rid of and, the feelings you're suppressing are just beginning? Stay strong. Find a way through now. Let your light shine here. Change this world now because you may not know what's waiting for you. You don't believe what the book says. Come up with your own plan. Either way, no matter what path you pick, there's something after this. So to get rid of yourself here and treat your soul here like it doesn't matter, you're already damning yourself for what's next. What if God has a plan for you in this world and the next? So, with that being said, all I can say, that's my message. Reconsider. When you're feeling that way, look around, reset, reconsider, reestablish. Reestablish what's important. Okay? Relook at yourself, reapply. That's it. We all fall. That's why the knee bones and the kneecaps and the toughest in the body sometimes, you know, you fall on them. You need them. You're on your knees praying. There's nothing wrong with that. You get up and try again. You get up and try again. It's not your clock. You don't own it. So to punch it is a scary thing. Are you really punching away the pain? Or is it just beginning? That's what I want you guys to think about. So, like Drew said, anyone who needs to reach out, anyone who has a story, anyone who needs to talk to us, um, yeah, we're attacking this head on. Mental health is a problem. Mental health is a problem. And we're gonna help y'all figure out where to put it, how to put it. We'll do this together. So, um, yeah, anything we can Ranger can provide the community, you know, that'll keep anybody from Green Rangering themselves, and you know, using JDF as a beacon of hope and not pain. So yeah, we love you guys, man. This is what we're here for. It's important not only to the brand but everybody involved. So shout out to y'all. Um, Go ahead, Laura. What are your final thoughts with all of this? Anxiety, depression. The people know where you stand.
Well, I just wanted to say that the last video was my anxiety attack, and it took me about a day and a half to recover from it, but I did, and I always do. I always will, and I think that's the lesson is that um, you can come back from anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you don't have to stay down just because that day the anxiety gets so bad, because it does. But you don't have to stay there. You fall, you get back up. You fall, you get back up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've had to do, and
Important.
and I felt a lot, and sometimes I feel like I'm walking through mud, up to my hips, you know, and it's hard to move and hard to do something, but I always get up. I mean, I have strong faith in God, um, and I believe that He's the one that's getting me through all of what I've been through. And well, whatever I go through, see, that's my mentality. I may go through some absolute nightmares. I've already been through a lot. That's not to say I won't go through things again. That's not to say that I won't have more nightmares. But that is to say that God will be with me when I do, so I will be okay. I have not my older brother, the one that just got out of prison, but I have a younger brother named Caleb. Um, he is 9 years younger. His birthday's coming up actually. Um, and he is one of the wisest people I know. He's 31. And so when I am in a bind and I need wisdom, I call Caleb. There was one time that I had lost, it was the year of COVID, and I had lost 3 jobs and getting ready to lose my apartment because I lost those jobs. And I called him hyperventilating. And before he even answered the phone, I was hyperventilating. And when he answered, he said, "Let me stop you, take a breath, breathe." He said, "Let me remind you that you will be okay. God has been faithful to you, and you will be okay." Um, and that's the truth. And that's my motto now. You know, let me
Mm-hmm.
remind you that you will be okay. Whatever happens, if you have that mentality of, I will be okay, I will get through it, come hell or high water, I will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mindset I have now. Um, Sometimes I have to be reminded of that, but um, that's that's what I try to remind myself of Caleb's words. You know, he's a very strong Christian. He's someone I very much look up to, and whenever I need wisdom, I call him.
Mm-hmm.
So he has taught me how to be wise, and so I'm getting wiser. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting kind of there, maybe. Um, but I'm not to his level yet. But yeah, so whatever happens, get up. Don't stay there. You don't have to stay there. I think people get stuck. They fall and they get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Get up.
Yeah.
As hard as it may be, get up. Um, Keep going,
Yeah.
and
And the validation of others, I just want to add that in there.
you'll
That's a
be
big
okay.
thing. A lot of years seeking the validation of others really hindered my progress. So,
Yeah, yeah. A lot of freedom comes with not caring what people think about you.
yeah, absolutely. That's a big one for me.
Yeah, and I'm 39, and I've just learned that concept in the last 3 years of
Mm-hmm.
just I don't care what people think. I mean, I've been through enough BS and nightmarish and hell that why do I care what you say? Why do I care what you think? I've been through hell. I know what I know because of what I've been through. I'm not going to sit here and let you judge me for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Go judge someone else, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Um, and um, It's taken me a long time to get there. Long time. It doesn't happen overnight. So
Yeah.
my final thought is just when you fall, get up. As hard as it may be, get up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's my final thought. Drew,
Yes.
final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I'm gonna give me 3 minutes to tell this quick story. I think with
Sure.
everything you guys said, I think I need to tell it. So a long time ago, when I was still working at the courthouse years ago, I had a guy that was looking at doing some jail time. I wasn't sure about what exactly he did, but he was pretty much there. He knew that he was going to be sentenced and looking at serving some jail time for. And I don't think his time was going to be much, but who wants to go to jail? Nobody. But he had to serve some time. So they brought this guy. They had him. And one of the deputies asked me if I could keep an eye on things until he got back real quick. So I looked at the guy, and I remember that I had heard that this judge did not like the metal militia T-shirts. You guys remember that stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Because he said that the helmet looked like a Nazi helmet. And he said if anybody came in his courtroom, that he would give them extra time and make things very difficult for them because he thought that those were Nazi helmets and he was not cool with that. Mm-hmm. So we all know that those helmets may look similar to that, but they don't, they're just a helmet, it's just a design. It's not